Hi, besties. Welcome to the podcast where we're all friends because we love all things Bravo, pop culture, and can't stop talking
Having
about
too much fun.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Bravo should be fun.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your host here at Besties by Bravo. Allegedly allegations, where we're in a safe space to gossip, share our thoughts and opinions.
That girl's a liar. That girl's a liar.
About the Bravo celebrities, shows, and celebs we love, hate, and
that's when
love
Chef
to
goes,
hate.
Oh, suddenly now you're so religious?
So be cool. Don't be all uncool.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
Because sometimes things may get a little, well, ridiculous.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on. Ah! Oh my God!
It's like the Blair Witch Project or something. All you can hear in the background is, oh my God, has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God, can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
I'm so glad you're here to enjoy the fun. So, thank you for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me today. Now, this week has not been as insane as the last week was regarding Bravo news, but there is still so much that I'm making it the predominant part of this show. We're going to have a little gossip sesh. How do y'all feel about that? I know I feel good. Well, let's start with some of the really big news that we aren't 1000% certain if it's true, if it's what have you. I find it bizarre still that any gossip websites, because there aren't really the gossip rags like there used to be, but we'll say gossip website would just blatantly make up something, but maybe a source would. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see this play out, my friends. But we're going to start with the Kyle Richards and Morgan Wade of it all. Y'all, there I rhymed. Daily Mail put out an article saying that Bravo gave Kyle Richards an ultimatum. Essentially, that if she wants to return to what would be season 14 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she must disclose and speak on her relationship with Morgan Wade. Now, I don't know that Bravo gives ultimatums necessarily like that, but I do believe that she probably has some pressure on it. Now, this article essentially said that this unknown, or I should say anonymous source, was saying that really Bravo was like, look, you've talked about everything with Mauricio enough as it is. We and the people want to know what's going on with Morgan Wade, or you fired, don't come back. Well, we don't know what's going to happen there. This source also said that Morgan makes Kyle feel as though she is the most beautiful woman. And they alleged that Kyle, during her marriage with Mauricio, was constantly just like trying to dazzle him and make him really see her as beautiful. And it was always all about the kids and finances and planning things, essentially. Well, that is marriage when you have kids, regardless of gender. But at least that part sounds believable, I would say, especially considering the type of rumors and nastiness we've heard about the husband, aka Mauricio. And, it sounds like this person is really insinuating that Kyle was trying to keep his eyes on her. And we all know if someone has a wandering eye, it ain't going to happen. They're going to do what they do. But it does break my heart to hear that maybe that's what the relationship had become between Kyle and Mauricio. And I want to reiterate for probably the thousandth time, I have always liked Kyle Richards, even when it was unpopular. I know a lot of people don't like her, and she can have her hypocritical moments. And this season was certainly one of those. But I do like Kyle. I am interested in her. I always have been, and I find her an interesting person, especially her life story. Which, if you do want to know more about it, I did create an entire series on TikTok about really more so Kim Richards and her life story, but there's a lot of Kyle in it. So while TikTok's still here, hey, don't ban TikTok. I know the legislation passed, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see. A lot of things. Y'all, there was also, well, let me also add this, excuse me, before I jump ahead. RealityT.com reported that a quote unquote production source claimed that Bravo never gave Kyle this ultimatum, that that's not true. And, you know, this is another one of those things where I think there's a middle ground because I think Bravo knows well and good, honey, that we are dying to know what the deal is. Now, for the umpteenth time, if Kyle isn't ready to come out as whatever she wants to define herself as or not define herself as, that's fine. But I do think there is something that she could take as a note from, for example, Katie Maloney, how this whole thing with Tori and Schwartz on Vanderpump Rules, it wasn't a big deal when Katie said that. We've never said that she was just attracted to people. There are ways to say that, I'm sure. Again, this is not something I've personally gone through, so I don't want to speak out of turn. I just find it interesting how we've only seen Katie with Schwartz for all of these years. And yet we just were like, yeah, okay, cool. And I think maybe because Kyle is of a different generation, it might be even more terrifying for her. But I do fully believe that the people she is close to in her life would so support her. And I think the fans would support her. And I don't want to see Kyle unhappy. And when I was reading the article, you see the pictures of her and Morgan, and it just, I don't know, something in my heart was warmed. It was. And I was just like, oh my God, please. Could you just, I don't know, make it real, make it happen. Maybe I've been reading too many like bodice ripper books, which, by the way, so off topic. I don't know if y'all have read A Court of Thorns and Roses, or if you've read Fourth Wing or Blood and Ash, but my God, my mind, when I'm not in the Bravo world and when I'm not immersed in family, that is where I am. And oh my gosh, maybe that's why I'm like overly romanticizing this, but there was a still of Kyle and Morgan from Morgan's music video when they were in that quote unquote kitchen and Kyle's in her lingerie trench coat look and Morgan is looking at her. And I was like, oh my God. I know Mauricio loves Kyle, and I do believe, I shouldn't say I know, but I do believe Mauricio loves Kyle and that he's attracted to her and has been. But the way Morgan looked at her in that video, ooh, honey. I mean, oh, your girl is not into women in that way at all. I'm boring like that. But my God, I was like, I could see how someone could easily be like, "Oh, my head snapped around." And I said, "Okay, let's talk about this." Because that was just ooh, steamy. Let's just be real. Now, the other drama. Reddit has been on fire with a lot of drama, y'all. If you are like feeling like you're seeing the same posts over and over on Instagram and seeing the same things over and over on TikTok, on all of it, and you just want something fresh, go on over to Reddit. It's anonymous. It's fantastic. Reddit, there was a post that someone made in the Vanderpump Rules subreddit where they said that they were from Canada and that Jax Taylor, his publicist, Lori K. Peterson, I believe was her name. Oh my God. No, that wasn't her name. My brain just short circuited. Excuse me. And Tom Sandoval were there. Now, we've seen some of this on social media that they are there. Okay. And we had seen a lot of questions regarding how close Jax and Lori, the publicist that he shares with Brittany, his wife, mother of his child, that person. And we were all kind of like, wow, they're like super close. Even this one photo that's in the YouTube thumbnail that I used for my YouTube live here, Brittany and Jax are both in this photo with Lori, and Jax is like right leaning into Lori, and Brittany's just kind of like off to the side. Now, maybe Brittany's working her angles. I know, honey, we got to do what we got to do. But there have truly been a lot of questions about Jax and this publicist, Lori. Now, something interesting about Lori, before I even get started, did you know she also reps Rachel Fuda from Real Housewives of New Jersey? And she represents Natalie from Love is Blind. I believe that was 2 seasons ago. Remember Shane, like grinding his teeth? Maybe people were accusing him of enjoying pasta a little too much. She left him at the altar. She reps Natalie, who was able to quit her job as a financial analyst, and she's full-time podcasting with Deep D. Hey, girl. Looks like Lori puts in the overtime, but she mostly represents a lot of reality TV people who are former actors become reality TV and reality TV become actors. So there's a recurring theme. That being said, this person posted on Reddit that, well, they were in her city in Canada, and they claimed that Jax banged this publicist Lori in the bathroom a la circa season 2 of Vanderpump Rules, was it, with Laura Lee? Remember how they did that? Yeah. Oh, it's just disgusting. Okay, I'm so sorry. Ew. Ew. That being said, there's a lot that I tried to dive into here. And this other person on Reddit, there are multiple people posting about him and Lori and Sandoval being in Canada, but mostly it's been about Jax and his publicist being there. They claimed that Jax comes off as this like, oh, I want to be chill, I'm a good family man persona. And let's see how shocked we are by this claim that he walked into a bar one evening in Canada and literally, allegedly said, "Who's got a bag for me?" Oh, fantastic. Now, Jax and Brittany unfollowed each other on Instagram. And I'm sorry, that's like a big move. I know some people meh at it, but that's a big move. That's a big move. And Brittany also unfollowed Lori, who is, as far as we know, her own publicist. Lori had posted from when Brittany was on Watch What Happens Live with Nicola Coughlan. Remember from Bridgerton? She's so adorable. They both were on there together, and that was the last photo I believe she had with Brittany. There's her Instagram feed for her publicity company is littered with photos of Brittany and Jax. So I feel like that's kind of like a big deal. And a comment Jax left under one of Brittany's photos has now been deleted. So I'm like, did they block? Did she block him? I'm curious. But the irony is what Jax then did, like yesterday, he posted to his Instagram stories, "Hey, to all the fathers out there, make your Mother's Day reservations now." Listen, the food service people absolutely loathe Mother's Day more than anything. I remember I worked at this fabulous restaurant in Studio City, and Mother's Day was the single worst day to work of the entire year. You would rather work Christmas Eve and Thanksgiving than work on Mother's Day because everyone is miserable. Truly, the moms are miserable because they don't even want to be going to this planned thing. And the dads are miserable because they had to plan this whole thing to show her that they think she's special when she is. Calm down, Caitlin, calm down. And Jax worked in the service industry. He knows this. Jesus, why don't you recommend these men have DoorDash? brought to the home. Why don't you cook a meal for once? And the irony too regarding Jax on this latest episode of The Valley being like, I just hate mess. Everything has to have a place, blah, blah, blah. For someone who needs everything to be so clean, that man loves mess. Am I right? Or am I right? Jesus. Then Michelle from The Valley, which if you are not watching The Valley, go watch it. I had one of my girlfriends say to me, I just couldn't get into it. I'm not feeling it. I'm like, no. Go watch it. Binge it. Because my age group, I'm 35. That being said, it is so relatable aside from some of the homes that they're like, having a Capri dinner at. I'm not hanging out in homes like that yet, but I find it so relatable and so good. And it gives us just enough VPR messiness that we still like have those warm and fuzzies for it, but it's a little bit more fresh, you know? Oh God, y'all. Okay. I gotta talk. Joe Wenberg. Speaking of Vanderpump Rules, Joe Wenberg. Oh, sweet Jesus. So I'm going to remind y'all that when I've talked about it so many times now on TikTok, I made this stupid video. It was like 15 seconds long, being like, oh my God, you guys don't get mad at me, but why does Joe Wenberg come off as the girl who pretended that she was a horse and growled at people when she was in elementary school? And the way people went insane at me. It's got like 500,000 views, and half of them are people saying, you're a Regina George. You have no friends. You had no friends in middle school. One was, why do I feel like you were the girl in middle school who took all the other girls' pencils, then raised your hand and told the teacher this girl had no pencils and tried to get her in trouble? None of that's factual. What is factual is this Instagram live that Joe did. And this is where I'm going with this. I felt a little bit redeemed because Jesus, take the goddamn wheel. Joe goes on this Instagram live, and I wouldn't know because I'm blocked. My friend Bravo Boo posted it, and she got it from Vanderpod Recaps, who screen recorded it, not screen grabbed. Same thing, whatever. It literally begins. Now, cover the babies in the room's ears with Joe literally saying, did I suck off Schwartz? She's reading questions that are coming into this Instagram live. Yeah, duh. Oh my God, he was so good at sex. I mean, yeah, he was so great. I don't know why Katie didn't like his dick. I mean, that is literally how this went. She's clearly been imbibing in some things, judging by, her friend and her pouring wine in there. And then Joe is talking about how she met Schwartz's new girlfriend, and she's talking about how it was hard going through the breakup, and that the breakup with Schwartz when it doesn't totally seem like they were together. And I can understand how she might have thought in her mind that they were together. And I think that was made pretty clear the episode before last. Okay. We've all known that man's who does that has you thinking that you're in something you're not. And then you're like, I know I'm not crazy, except it seems like Joe is a little crazy, because a lot of people were like, oh my God, Joe really enjoys pasta, judging by this video. Now, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but the number of times she had to keep rubbing her nose. Now, I have allergies. Bad. In fact, my eyes have been permanently looking like I have pink eye when I don't. I mean, it's bad. But let me just say my allergies didn't exist when I was in LA. So I don't know. I don't know, Joe. And at one point in the live, Joe was asked if she was ever asked to do Lala's podcast, give them Lala. And it was so bizarre. She turns and looks at her friend and she's like, I don't think I've been asked. Have I been asked? It's Joe. Like, now let me just make this clear. I know I have ADHD myself, and I know what unmedicated, medicated, and really hyperactive ADHD looks like. That didn't look like ADHD to me, but I'm no expert. I'm not an expert. But that being said, to whoever left me that review on Apple saying, oh, she claims to have ADHD and she just talks gross and all that. I don't just claim to have it. Believe me, if I could claim to not have it, I would love to walk through life with a normal civilian brain. Unfortunately, I don't. I have been diagnosed by many. I can only laugh because my God. Now, staying on topic of Vanderpump Rules, it looks like, I know everyone's fatigued by Sandoval, but these idiots, as in Rachel and Tom Sandoval, keep screwing up things by not helping themselves and making us question things, because it does sound as though Rachel flubbed the timeline, as in not like, oops, I mixed up the dates, like, oops, I mixed up the dates. Because she said, now y'all know I'll listen to Rachel Goes Rogue just for you. Do it, try to do the Lord's work, my friends. She said on Rachel Goes Rogue that when she went on Sheena's podcast, because she was reacting to this last episode of Vanderpump Rules where they all saw her go on, quote unquote, that podcaster's podcast, as in Bethany Frankel, because I love that they will not name her. Anywho, she said that when she went on Sheena's podcast, and this was all she said regarding this person, but when I talked about, quote unquote, that guy, which the only guy she seemed to have had as a major topic of conversation on Sheena's podcast, aside from James, was Nema. And she says that Tom Sandoval called her a sociopath whenever she did that. And, you know, Rachel's saying, look, I'm in my 20s. I should be dating. And I was wanting him to break up with Ariana publicly. Those were my terms. What's interesting is they claimed that their affair, remember, didn't start until late in the year of 2022. So I'm like, this is very odd. I don't understand. Am I getting all, because, you know, it still feels like a new year to me, even though it's almost May. We're in 2024. Sandoval happened in 2023, the discovery of it. Sandoval began in 2022. Now, Rachel went on Sheena's podcast, and the more I searched, I saw it was in March of 2022. And here was my thing. I thought that maybe she was saying that that Sandoval was calling her a sociopath because she was done dating Nema or exploring things with Nema, and then later going on Sheena's podcast and talking about it. I thought maybe that's what it was. And it was maybe now she's talking about it with Sheena after the fact. And I'm still questioning my timeline here because I'm very confused. Now, I'm sorry. She said that she was talking to Nema in March of 2022, and she went on Sheena's podcast May 27th of 2022. So wait a damn minute. I've looked it up. I was looking it up for almost an hour this morning because I was getting so lost, because as soon as you start Googling this stuff, it only pulls up things from like 2023, things like that. But this was all occurring in 2022. So Coachella, there was no Coachella in 2021, from what I recall. There was Coachella in 2022. And remember the rumors about Rachel and Tom Schwartz, but really it was like, oh, Rachel was making out with some guy that looks like Tom Schwartz. That was Brock's friend who looked nothing like Tom Schwartz. Like, okay. And that's where we saw photos of her along with at the Life is Beautiful festival on Sandoval's shoulders and videos of that. And allegedly it was at Coachella that Sandoval told Rachel that he and Ariana were in an open relationship. So if that does track with March, I'm still reasoning this out loud. March 2022, that's close to Coachella. If she was still talking to Nima during that time. And then May would have been Sheena's podcast. So why, y'all, why would Rachel be asking Tom Sandoval to break up with Ariana publicly in May of 2022? Don't know. Okay, there's so much more. Oh my God, there's so much more. I don't even know how much I'm going to be able to get into Summer House because how far into we're almost 30 minutes in. This is how much is happening. I find this week of Bravo News far more interesting than I did last week. And I'm so sorry to say that, but it's true. Now, let's go ahead and stay on the Vanderpump Rules of it all because Tom Sandoval's attorneys responded to Rachel's revenge porn lawsuit. We haven't seen that Ariana's attorneys have responded to it as far as I know. But essentially, we're just going to sum this up because I am absolutely no legal expert. That Sandoval's attorneys said, well, Rachel, you allege that everyone knew about this affair. And basically, you also have no facts to support what you're saying is revenge porn and Sandoval taking this video unbeknownst to you was not a fact that you had good evidence of. And I mean, because here's the thing. What part of me goes, well, Sandoval, why don't you give her some of the money she's asking for and just go ahead and say, look, I screwed up and that's it. But then, it's Sandoval. To him, that would be an admission of guilt. And in the court of public opinion, that would be an admission of guilt. But we know, I'm sorry, I fully believe that Rachel did not know. He was screen recording that. That's disgusting that he would do that. I don't think she would. No, I was about to say, I don't think she'd be that stupid, but maybe. Maybe. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell y'all about some silly little tea I read on Reddit as well. Do I know that it's 100% factual? No. But is it so fun to talk about and imagine? And also, does it seem slightly believable? Okay, it seems very believable. So this girl posts on Reddit that allegedly she went out on a date with Chris Leone. Now, do you remember who Chris is? Maybe, because he actually made his cameo back on Summer House this season, actually this last episode. And he was on last season and he obviously didn't come back. Now, this girl alleges that she met him on Hinge, lives in New York City. They went out on some date on the Upper East Side. And she said she had already watched Summer House. And she said that she straight up told him eventually in this date, like, look, I only agreed to go out with you because you only seem like you seem like the only normal guy on the show, which is also interesting to me because how many of these men were single on this show until this season? Not many. Okay. And allegedly, after this, it sounds like to me, he then starts spilling some Summer House cast members' tea. He claimed that he and Carl got into it more than once, that they didn't show it, and that eventually he was like, why are we fighting about whatever XYZ topic? This is so stupid. And he alleged that Carl was like, because this is our paycheck. So yes, we are going to fight about it. I believe that too. Remember, Carl didn't have a job. Maybe now he does. This season, he doesn't have a job. Okay. Oh, that's clear. And he allegedly alleged that Kyle would get really upset with cast members if they didn't quote unquote bring it. Also believe that. Like, totally believe that. He said that he didn't really have apparently a lot of tea on Lindsay and Carl, but allegedly he said that Paige would cause a lot of drama by saying things off camera and then it would be brought up on camera. He also said that Paige has a trust fund and that her parents have paid for everything and that they're basically supporting her influencing. Now, I want y'all to know, I love Paige DeSorbo. I love her. I don't want to hear any Paige slander. So this is just me being fair and just and delivering what was said. Now, Paige has said before that her parents were paying for her apartment previously, but I think, y'all, have you seen how many followers she has? Why don't you look up? You can do this. Go ahead and look up, just pretend you're an influencer. How much should I charge for a paid promo if I have 1 million followers on Instagram. When you find out the math, it's going to make you sick. Doesn't always work out that way for a lot of people, but for someone like Paige, she probably charges more than what you're going to see. And it would be right for it to be charged that. That's on top of the Amazon. That's on top of the Shop My links where she puts really expensive stuff in there because I have clicked those links. And there was a pair of boots I wanted so bad that she was wearing. What podcast did she go on? It wasn't the Not Skinny, Not Fat, but it was someone's, oh my God, these black riding boots that I found the most perfect dupe for under $200 at Bloomingdale's. So just so you know, you can find the dupes. The way you do that, Giorgio Talknakis, one of our besties, he taught me that you save the photo, do the Google reverse image search, and that's how you can find dupes of things. And I was like, oh my God, why have I not done this before? So anywho, then apparently, I keep saying apparently when I mean allegedly, Chris told this date of his that he and Danielle almost hooked up, but that she allegedly texted him while he was at a party because he was flirting with some girl or something. And then that's where things ended. Now, I think Danielle was, going through it at that point, but I thought Danielle was still with Robert during that time. A little confusing. So we're going to question some things. But the funniest part to me, or the most ridiculous part, is that apparently this man allegedly never even reached for his wallet for the entire date, where there were, it sounds like 2 to 3 bars that were visited. So maybe he exchanged some free drinks for some free tea. This girl alleged that he was a good kisser, though. So she had something nice to say about it. Again, who knows if this is fully true, but I had to share this because I was like, some of this seems so incredibly plausible, Okay, this is Mary Cosby. They're filming Real Housewives of Salt Lake City right now. In fact, we've been seeing a lot of footage of the women at the airport going to wherever it is they're going, somewhere exotic, because remember, they were stuck, landlocked for however many years due to the Jen Shah of it all. Well, allegedly, Mary Cosby may have called Lisa Barlow's son, Henry, the R word. Wow. I sadly could see this because Mary doesn't seem to know. And this, I don't mean this as an excuse whatsoever. I mean, she just doesn't seem to have any type of grasp on anything politically correct or empathetic with her speech. She doesn't seem to speak very kindly to people. She said Heather looked inbred. I mean, yeah, and supposedly the rest of the cast is like, we are not filming with her. Yeah, don't blame them. That's fucked up. And then she posted a photo of her son just saying, don't believe what you hear. By the way, this is my son. What are you saying? Not sure. Now, over to Roni, our new Roni. Rebecca Minkoff has been filming with the new Roni cast. Gosh, I'm scared to even say this word because I don't want any algorithms picking it up. I don't want these people near me. But Rebecca Minkoff is a Scientologist. She has been very open about identifying as a Scientologist and as Jewish. She seems to have been friends with convicted rapist Danny Masterson. Wow. My theory is it could really provoke, say, Leah Remini to go ahead and join Beverly Hills. I keep hearing, we've heard it for years now, that she's been courted for this. They don't have Crystal anymore. The budget has been opened. They obviously don't have Anna Marie. They might be able to bring just one singular housewife on. as a newbie. And guess what? It could be Leah Remini. That's my prediction that she would be fantastic. However, Kyle Richards pitched Hillary from Connecticut Baldwin. I don't think it's the time. Let's see if her Connecticut accent comes through. We already have one woman on the show who thinks that she's a child of the world and has multiple accents. We don't need Hilaria Baldwin on there. But did you know that there's another Scientology connection on Bravo? Now, we're going to say alleged here because, good old Schwartz and Sandy's there in Hollywood. It is right directly across the street from one of the many Church of Scientology locations. And this one has been there for a very long time. And when I emphasize that, I mean, you could be driving anywhere like Van Nuys, NoHo, all of it, and you would randomly see a hotel that turned into a Church of Scientology. And like across the street, there might be another hotel that basically becomes housing. And there would never be people there. Odd. Please don't. You Scientology people have so many bigger fish to fry than little old me. Don't you dare come for me. But that's not where I'm not just saying that Schwartz and Sandy's is directly across from this particular Church of Scientology location. They're in a little bit more of Eastern Hollywood, sort of. Well, allegedly, their partner Greg Morrison and his wife Lorraine Ray are Scientologists. Where did we come up with this? Well, whatever her name is, Lorraine, there were protesters against the Church of Scientology near the bar, and she was trying to get somewhere. Now, let me just say this. I don't think if you're protesting something, you shouldn't be getting just like in someone's face who's walking by. It's all good and fine to protest. Like, please, freedom of speech, right to protest, please do it. But don't get physical in people's faces who are just like walking by. And she got very angry and smacked this girl's phone out of her hand. You can do the searching on that. And allegedly the police were even called, and there is a photo. Things can be doctored. So but she's sitting in the back of a police car, but she wasn't arrested. So, there's, I think it would be fantastic to go ahead and bring on Leah Remini to maybe show a different opinion. Listen, those people scare me. I don't want anything to do with them because there are people, I have known more than one person. Okay, I've known people who have been in Scientology, and I also know people who have family members. I'm not giving anything away because those people are psychotic. It's scary. Like I know people who have people in their life that last I heard were trying to escape the Sea Org. So no one's gonna figure out who, don't worry. Okay. Now I'm about to that was a lot of stuff. How far are we into this? We've been gossiping for 38 minutes, besties. Before I jump into Summer House, let's say hi. Hi, Simona. Oh, hi, Kelly. Oh, Danny, thank you. You look fabulous as always. And hi, Adam. Yes, Kelly, I agree to a certain extent. I do that maybe you hope Bravo gave Kyle an ultimatum, and from the person who demands that everyone just be honest. Just be honest. She should abide by the same standards she sets for others. I don't disagree with you whatsoever. In fact, I should just say I agree. And Simona noted that Mo removed Kyle and the kids from his Instagram bio. Interesting. Oh, Lori. Yeah, thank you. Lori Peterson was an OG housewife on. Yeah, okay. My bad. Sometimes all the names. Thank you for that, Adam. All the names yes, Mary is so inappropriate, Kelly. Oh, hi, Tay Tay. Yeah, Mary. That's another person. If you go on my TikTok, I did a deep dive on her and her grandmother, Mama Rosemary. It's a lot. And to be honest, there were some things I had to hold back on from saying because I was like, oh my God, I don't want to get sued. Don't sue me, I'm poor. Just kidding, kind of. Okay. Summer House. Now, this isn't going to be a super duper detailed recap, but there were some things I had to talk about, I just want to start with when Lindsay and Danielle are talking at the house. And Carl had to basically leave the state for her to even enjoy being around him again, as in Lindsay, because she desperately needed to just miss him. And listen, after COVID, I think everybody knows what that's like, where it's like, oh my God, if you do not get out of the same oxygen I am breathing, I'm going to harm you bodily. I said that out of order, but you get what I'm saying. And I guess Danielle banged some guy the night before, and she just is all about staying single right now, my friends. And, she tells Lindsay that seeing the relationships in the house does not have her running toward companionship anytime soon. Not a dig at Lindsay. No, not at all. Definitely not a dig. Lindsay definitely didn't take it that way. Her eyes didn't get like a little more narrow. She didn't purse her lips at all. And also, if it weren't for the after show and seeing some of the things that Sierra is saying in the aftermath of this season about her and West, I would think they would have really been giving it a big go, but it doesn't seem like it. They're cute together. I don't even think she's that into him, though, if I'm completely honest. And it's not because she has not decided to take things physically to another level. That doesn't always indicate the level of interest in a person. I just think she's like, well, I'm on a TV show. I got to do something with one of these dudes. And we've got Jesse or West. West, obviously, because can you imagine being in a relationship with Jesse? I wouldn't. He's like that guy. He reminds me of that guy in middle school that I would have absolutely been in love with. And thought about all the way through high school. And that would have just like made me feel like dog shit every time I looked at him. And that I would have been like trying to be done up all cute and stuff for school. But then I would have been like, oh my God, he's over there looking at what's her name? Jesus. So while they're out, I want to talk about this too. When Danielle, Paige, and Kyle step out from the club, Just a Bar, they have interesting names of places there in the Hamptons. They have a conversation about Paige and Craig's relationship. And I couldn't help but wonder, excuse me, let me do my Carrie Bradshaw. And I couldn't help but wonder how many times we're going to have a conversation about the type of vibes we're having in the house this summer. We've had enough conversations about it. We know the vibes are good. The vibes are bad. The vibes are good. The vibes are bad. Oh my God, we're getting along so well. We've never gotten along this well, ever. It's only because Paige isn't in the room. It's only because Lindsay isn't in the room. Anywho, Kyle tells Paige that he wishes Craig had come to the house more this summer. And Paige agrees. And she just goes, I like him. He's my friend. And it's like Danielle acts as though she's never met Paige and is acting like she has no idea what Paige's sense of humor is or how Paige speaks. Because Danielle is literally eyebrow cocked, like, just a friend. Girl. And I think Paige was saying she also views him as her friend and romantic partner, like her bestie. And that's exactly what she says next, okay? Because she's like, no, he's my best friend, and I can't wait to spill tea with him because we're both goss queens together. We bed rotten gossip. Duh. That's why they get along so well, I think. Now, Kyle says he worries a little bit about Paige and Craig because of the conversation he had with Craig a few weeks ago, where Craig was still continuing that discourse of, it's probable it won't work out. But here's the thing. I think, love you, Craig. I really do. And the glow up is so real. But I don't think you're meaning to say probable. I have a feeling Craig's meaning to say possible. Whenever he keeps saying that. Because probable and possible are two totally different things. Probability is a different discourse, okay? Kyle's telling Paige that he worries she's stringing Craig along regarding getting married and moving and all of that. And Paige is telling him that she knows she's going to marry him. But can I just say, God, I love a gender role reversal. I really do. I love that Craig is dying to get Paige a diamond and make her a mama and wife and all of it. And she's like, no.
I'm good. Thank you, though. Thank you. I don't like to leave the bed, and I would like to have my weekends where I say, send it and see you tomorrow.
Now, it's so fun. So she tells them that it does have to be on her terms whether she gets engaged to Craig or not. And she's basically good if it's not okay with him. And then Danielle and her delivery are difficult for me because Danielle goes, but you have his balls like on a freaking mantle. Okay, first of all, clearly Danielle knows nothing about Paige because little does she know that Paige would love to have Craig's balls on a mantle so that it could be in the background of her OOTD photos in that big long mirror she does in her apartment. Yes, I freaking love Paige's outfits. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, thank you so much. Goodbye. She would love having his balls on a mantle. And then Danielle says, I'm going to keep it real with you. I think you're giving him nothing. Okay. So after watching the after show, though, Paige made it clear in her way that she let Danielle have that one because she doesn't, and I'm putting this in a much nicer way, look to Danielle for relationship advice. And okay, look, let me just also be clear. I like Danielle as a person. I don't know her, but I like her. And she's definitely one of those people, she comes across to me as one of those people that they're a great human, but they don't know how to have relationships. And I do so fully, genuinely hate to see her having to live down that winter house shit because, oh my God, big yikes. So to sum up, also, moving on, the many conversations about whether Wes and Sierra are gonna bang, because it's getting tiresome to me. How much pressure is being put on it? I mean, do y'all have anything else to talk about? Is that what it is? I don't get it. I love how Sierra basically summed it up, though, both in confessional and again on the after show, that essentially people are ready to hop into bed with each other, but not be emotionally vulnerable. And I loved this, that no one, especially no man, is entitled to her body. And I felt like that was just a very adult woman response for someone who is making it clear they're not going to have sex with someone unless they're ready to. And listen, let me also make this clear. I support whether you want to jump in bed with someone immediately after shaking their hand, or if you want to wait for as long as you want to wait. That's your body, that's your choice, and there's no shame in either decision. I think it's annoying how much people are putting the pressure on them to do it. Because then that's like, what do you want? Do you want them to like immediately report that? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to the party. Chris Leone shows up. Irony. Now, I don't know if y'all know who Frank is, but I saw him in the background there. He used to be the digital producer for Watch What Happens Live. We love Frank here. Feisty Frank. It was good to see you on our screens, Frank. Gabby says in confessional, because we see this whole thing where Lindsay spotted the balloon guy. And she was like, oh my God. First of all, I think all you single girls are definitely going to be into Balloon Guy because he has cargo shorts. Imagine how many things he can hold for you. All your tiny purses are irrelevant with this guy. I mean, if I were single, so she's setting up this sort of competition, but not competition between Gabby and Danielle because they're the only two single, technically, females in this home. And oh my God, Gabby says eventually in confessional, after we're seeing a lot of back and forth with this guy, that she's not going to be Gabby versus Danielle over a guy who blows up balloons as a hobby because they've already been down that road before. Because remember that ex that banged Danielle? That's really crushed her so much. She's been single for the last 6 years. Yeah. Remember that whole thing? Yeah. Now, Paige goes over to Amanda and tells her about what Danielle said to her regarding her relationship with Craig the night before. And she fully goes in. She's saying that Danielle has no job or boyfriend, but I have both. So In confessional, Paige says that she thinks Danielle is aiming at her because she can't say anything about Carl and Lindsay. So what's the next best thing? She's going to go for Paige. You can't go after mom and dad. Kyle and Amanda go after each other enough. They don't need your help. And then, oh my God, another big yikes. In confessional, Paige adds that she wants Lindsay to come get her friend because she says, we made a mistake. It's too much with Danielle. God. And Paige and Amanda agree that they get where Lindsay was coming from the last summer and her issues regarding her friendship with Danielle. Woo! Well, I hate to be this person all the time, but I'm going to be honest. I can see both sides. I can see Danielle being hurt by being completely excluded by Lindsay and Carl and the engagement, but I can also understand why Carl maybe excluded Danielle because it didn't seem like Danielle would have been able to keep it a secret if she couldn't even keep her shit together right after the engagement happened and she found out about it. But I think Danielle also would have deserved to be a part of helping with that. So I don't know, man. It's rough. And Lindsay was too harsh with her. I don't know. But then we're going to wrap this episode up by getting to the part where Lindsay and Carl sit down to talk. And they begin to discuss the Loverboy partnership right after Lindsay sits down and she's like, babe, did you see me get abducted earlier? See, this tells me that without the Carl and Lindsay breakup, we weren't going to get a whole lot this season of Summer House at all. Because we had to spend a whole thing on them flashing a spotlight on who was it? Sierra, Kyle, and Lindsay pretending that they were seeing aliens at this close encounter party. Now, did that seem like a really fun party to dress up for? Yes. I want to put jewels around my eyes and wear something silver. That could mean a lot of things. But you can tell when they sit down that Carl is not only expecting Lindsay to shoot down this lover boy partnership offer that Kyle extended to Carl, but he is wanting her to do this on camera. Now, she asks first, instead of shooting it down, how do you feel about that? And he tells her he feels like he still has some time to figure this all out and wants to take that time. And she reminds him that he told her he'd have a plan by the end of the summer and that they're only, at this point, 3 weeks away from that. So that being said, I'm guessing we have 4 to 5. I can't imagine we'd have 6 episodes left, max of 5. So that means they should be filming that reunion relatively soon. I am very interested in this reunion because also it seems that maybe Lindsay debuted her new boyfriend when she went to this wedding, I believe in Portugal, that I thought I read that Carl was supposedly going to be at too. Who knows? Who knows? So Lindsay tells him that something that turns me on is to see my man out there crushing life. And he goes, you don't think I'm crushing life? No, I don't. So it's the delivery. Just like Danielle, it's the delivery. There are ways to be supportive of your partner without crushing their spirit. Because I think everything Lindsay is wanting from Carl in this particular category is beyond reasonable. She's pointing out to him that they're going to be combining their assets they have 3 months. 3 months. And they're going to be combining assets. She brings up that if they have kids, she may need to be at home with them and needs to know that she could do that. Now, listen, I am sorry to say this too. I'm not. I'm not sorry to say this, actually. I get what she's saying here. Yes, gender roles in the household are obnoxious, and a lot of them in so many ways should be abolished, okay? But there is no denying the fact that there has to be at least a caregiver, at least a very prominent caregiver 24/7 in the beginning, especially with a newborn. And if the biological mother is involved, they are the source of food, comfort, and they are a necessity to an infant. They've been their literal home for 10 months. Yes, I said 10 because conception, anyway. Their home. That's where they have lived is inside of this person. So if that bio mom is involved, yes, there's a reason why even as barbaric as the corporate America system is, you still have to get at least 4 weeks maternity leave. Yeah, like female run fashion companies that are rental services only give 4 weeks. Don't ask how I know that. I had to sign an NDA when joining that workforce. But it was a rental company founded by a female, and it's a fashion rental company. You do the math. 4 weeks. And I was told I would have to clock out to breastfeed. I said that live on YouTube. Damn it. Oh, well, I didn't name the company. My brother's an attorney. I'll call him. Jesus. I'm turning red because now I'm like, did I say something I shouldn't have? Oh, God. Anywho, here we go. Also, he tells her that if she wants him to go get a job, he will. Okay, then do that. Do that. Do that. Y'all live in New York City. You can't just live off of influencing and the show in New York City. Now, Paige has a podcast and multiple partnerships. Y'all, and she doesn't have a 3-bedroom, whatever, giant apartment. Hers is different. Lindsay isn't. I'm sorry. I like Lindsay, but she's not at the level Paige is at. It's just she hasn't been doing it as long. You're doing sandwich influencing and, hot girl influencing, which I'm all for. I support. But then he says in confessional, Carl does, that he knows he has a partner who is a go-getter and that she wants him to have his career figured out and that he'll, quote unquote, give her that. But that it's scary to have a partner who doesn't believe in him. Here I go ranting. Here I go. Oh my fucking God. I'm beyond. Because are you serious? She wants to ensure she is safe and secure with you. And she wouldn't encourage or push you if she didn't believe in you. Swear to God. These mans. This is what makes me nuts about men who are like this. Why can't a woman push you the same way your football coach did? Now, I assume you weren't banging your football coach. Hey, no judgment. But if other men can push you that way, why does your partner have to literally dumb themselves down into the delicate flower you have boxed them into when they are trying to push you? Why do women have to be all the time? Oh, well, sweetie, here's what I was thinking. Oh, you're just the greatest, biggest man. Oh my God, are those big arm muscles? Oh, I bet you could open this can. I can't get open for me. I'm sorry. I mean, a jar. Oh, I'm so stupid and silly. I called a jar a can. Oh, save me, big man. You can do this. You can get a job even though we're almost homeless. Please, honey, I believe in you. Why do they have to be like that in order to not be considered a nag? Answer that. Riddle me that. Patriarchy. Wow, I really went off. But he continues to say that he knows he can do it, but it doesn't feel good to know that she doesn't believe he can. Oh, wait, I wrote that wrong. He continues to say that he knows he can do it, but doesn't know that she believes he can. So do it. So do it, Carl. Do it. Well, we see that next week, Paige really goes in on Danielle. And Paige seems to be one of those people that she waits to lay in to you until she's hit a tipping point. And it has to be a culmination of things. I have a lot of people in my life like this. So it's not like I'm saying that it's bad, but it's not good when they hit that tipping point and then, oh my God, it's Pandora's box and demons fly out because she's mad about other things than just Danielle apparently saying that Gabby had no right to be tearful that night regarding what seems to maybe be about this quote unquote balloon guy competition that Gabby also made clear she wasn't in. And let's be clear that if Gabby is crying about that night, it probably is a culmination of things with the history that she's had with men regarding Danielle. Again, remember the ex-boyfriend who banged Danielle, and it was unbeknownst to Danielle. Bear that in mind. Danielle's not, pulling some sort of mistress stuff intentionally from what both of them have said about it. But Paige unleashes, it looks like, on Danielle for maybe not delivering such a kind move, saying that Gabby shouldn't have been tearing up that night. And obviously alcohol's involved, but Paige eventually says, "Who do you think you are?" And I feel like Paige doesn't ever she rarely legit goes in. She's normally joking, and she has that sense of humor that probably sometimes makes you go, is she going in on me or isn't she? And I think she loves to keep you guessing. But that being said, that is the end of this episode of Summer House and this very long-winded gossip session. I don't think we've gossiped this long before, have we? It was a long gossip session. But hey, if you're watching on YouTube, again, I'm going to say hi to all of you, my friends, besties. Hi again, Simona, Kelly, Danny, Adam, and we've got Tay. If I didn't say your name, I'll give it a minute. I can't see your name unless you're in the chat. I wish I could, but I'd like to say hi to each and every one of you, but I can't unless you join that chat. But if you could hit the like button, subscribe to YouTube, leave a 5-star review wherever it is you listen, and write out a cute little, bestie note if you're enjoying this podcast, because I certainly enjoy doing it with y'all. And I love our community of besties. And it looks like tonight, Vanderpump Rules, The Valley. I know Giorgio is covering The Valley on his podcast. I'm not entirely certain if I'm joining it tomorrow. I'm still working out the schedule, life. Oh, and hi, Lucy. That being said, I believe he is joining me on Thursday for a Vanderpump Rules recap and probably to chat some more gossip, because I need more bestie gossip sessions. I can never get enough of them. I really can't. Also, follow Besties by Caitlin, Caitlin, on Instagram and TikTok while we have it, but certainly go follow on Instagram. And I will put in the bio the link to the Pop Culture Besties shop on Etsy. I have. It's been kind of getting some momentum. It seems like some people like the stuff I've put on there. Hi, June. So thank you all so much for joining, and I will see you again on Thursday. That will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, 12 p.m. Pacific. I know it's confusing that on Tuesdays it's at the 12:30, 3:30 time, and Thursdays it's 1 my time. God, how much more? How can I make this more confusing? I'm very good at that. And on Thursdays, it's the 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. But that's just the way it is for the moment. So I will see y'all on Thursday. Enjoy Vanderpump Rules in the Valley tonight, because we're getting Jax and Brittany on both. All right, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.